that's fine. A couple things that I don't know if I mentioned it on the video because I didn't watch my own video, okay? So if the total assessed value is given, like the value of the entire property, and you keep reading, this is just from personal experience, and it says that the portion percentage is 45%. That is kind of hint, you got to find 45% of 150,000 before you proceed. Like that should be like the first step you do before proceeding to calculate your property taxes. The tax rate of the school division is 16 mils. Let's go ahead and do this, 16 over 1,000, okay? 16 over 1,000, that's what 16 mils tells us. The municipal tax rate is 12.5 mils, so let's go ahead and go 12.5 over 1,000. Okay, that's what we want to do whenever the mils, the word mils follows, go over 1,000. The provincial tax credit is $775 a year. I'm going to give that a different color, but there is a credit. So at the very end, before we give our final answer, we're going to subtract, right? Subtract. So that's something important to keep in mind. Then we've got our frontage. Our frontage is 65 feet. What's up with that, right? The width has only a part to play if there are some improvements, and there probably will be some improvements. So the frontage is 65 feet. And so we've got boulevard construction, concrete sidewalk, and water mains. So water main, like sometimes they have to like dig up the entire, like the street, and they'll dig up the pipes because they're all corroded, old, leaking, and they'll redo those as well. Okay, that usually when they redo a street, they'll do those as well if they're old enough. So calculate the portion assessment of the property. All we do is we take the entire value and we multiply it by 0.45. Again. And obviously this number is really small, right? $150,000 isn't a whole lot nowadays, but the work is still the same. So that's what we're going to get taxed on. How much do you pay for education tax? My education tax comes from the school division mill rate right here. So you take the 67,000. Is it 67,500, right? Sorry. 67,500. Multiply that by the 16 over 1,000. Okay, and you get a number there. Sometimes the question walks you through. Sometimes I've seen it on the exam where there's like no walkthrough. It's like just figure out the final property tax amount for this property. So what I will do here is I'll go 16 divided by 1,000 times 67,500, and there it is, 1,080 exactly is what I pay for education, the education portion of my property taxes. Next, calculate the amount that corresponds to the municipal tax. And usually the bill under municipal tax, you'll have your municipal tax and any improvements that happened in your area. So what we will do is we'll take the 67,500 and multiply by that mill rate that went with the municipal mill rate right here, 12.5 mils. We take that, so you go 12.5 over 1,000. I'll tell you this, guys, if there's a mill rate, you divide it by 1,000, you multiply it by something, okay? They're not just gonna give you a mill rate for no reason, okay? So you got it, that is gonna be part of this step here, so 12.5. And the mill rates look ugly. Sometimes they have like 12.467, right? I had to throw in 6.7 today. And then don't worry about it, just keep it like that, divide it by 1,000, nothing changes. So in this case, it's 843.75. And don't worry if these numbers are really big. Sometimes our property taxes are 5,000 at the end or something, right? Higher than that. Improvements. I'll do that here. Improvements. there are three improvements we're looking at here. We're looking at Boulevard. Okay. We're looking at concrete sidewalks. And we're looking at water mains. Okay. All of them improvements, you'll have to take 65. Don't get too excited with the 67, right? 65 feet. All of them, 65 feet times whatever the city determines the rate is. Okay? That's when you need, if I don't give you those rates, you got to get this chart, and you got to get to the local improvements portion of the chart, and you have to read very carefully. So boulevard construction is $10.81 per foot. So it's $10.81 from the chart, right? Concrete sidewalks. Concrete sidewalk right here, $7.86. So you go $7.86. Water mains. I look at my table, it's at the very bottom, $11.54. This is publicly available to you guys. This table that I just showed you, you can get it from the city of Winnipeg. They update this every year pretty much because construction always goes up, right? The cost of it goes up, so these rates change from time to time, okay? All right, so let's figure out what those are. I'm just gonna give you the answers here today to make it a little faster. $702.65 is boulevard repair. $510.90 for concrete sidewalks. $750.10 for water mains. So can you imagine? It adds up quite fast. Especially if you're like an older neighborhood, these things actually do pile up quite a bit. So for improvements, right, the improvements alone, you know what? In my key, I did it the same way. I'm going to include the property taxes that go with it for the municipal. I'm going to include all of that. So these four values here, all added up together, gives you $2,807.40. And the way I understand it, like, you know, how there's Garden City, there's North Kildonan, there's all these like little municipalities within Winnipeg. They have like a boundary. They literally have a map of like exactly where the streets cut off a certain area, and every area comes up with their own mill rate, the mill rate that they need to raise money, to have enough money to run that portion of the town. Okay? Very interesting stuff, I know. It's very exciting. Calculate the net property taxes for Juan. So net, basically we go 1,080. That comes from question B, plus 2,807.40 cents. This comes from C. And don't forget, this is the one that students either they add or they completely forget about it. So both of them are wrong. You got to go minus 775. That's the credit. So if you do that correctly, if you add and subtract, you get 3,112.40 cents. $66. Almost 67. Okay. If you, I don't know if you worked through this on your own. I'm just going to give you on page 65, I'm going to give you the answer to that one. So if you go to 65. That's 5,085.16 cents. This is on page 65. Okay, if you want to know what the answer is, if you want to work through that, then you know, let's go to 67. 67, I planned it that way. Friday. 67 is, the answer is 2,924.40 cents. Let me just check before I go if you get that number. So in this case, the portioned, I'm on page 67, portioned assessment is 120,000. Okay, it's already the portioned assessment, so I don't need to multiply that by 0.45. My experience tells me that the province will have that in the sentence if they need you to use the 0.45. Okay, so that's it. So for municipal tax, you simply take the 120,000, we multiply it by the mill rate for the municipal taxes. You multiply that, you get 1561.20. Education tax, there should be one of each. I can go straight to the answer because they already did that for us. So don't be multiplying that by the mill rate, okay? You'll get like a couple of cents there, okay? So don't, or it's not going to be much. So that is it. Improvements, they do mention lighting levy, okay? Special lighting levy. So we are going to go 60 feet times, and I give you what it is there. So don't be looking for it on your yellow tables because they will sometimes be different because it changes. So my table I update from time to time, but I forget to update it here. So just go with what I give you. So that would be $210. Okay. So this would have given you 1 mark, 2 marks, and then the third mark is to get the net property taxes. Okay. So 1561.20 plus 1903.20 plus 210 minus 750. That is 2924.40. Okay, so that would be your net property taxes in this particular case. If you are, if you worked on page 68 and on, I think they're still good ones to try. The key is actually found on page 69 at the bottom. So if you go to page 69 at the bottom, there are your solutions to those questions. So I'm actually going to tell you that when let's go back to 68. And at the top, I'll just say solutions, okay? On page 69. So if you need a bit more practice with property taxes, that's where you're going to find it.